Uh, Definition-wise, I mean, I feel like the definition for a journalist should be that you're paid to provide news to the masses, to the public. If you just sit at home, you look over the internet, or you know people and you just figure out news and send it. Yeah, you are providing news, but I don't know. I feel like journalist. It's your title. It's what you're paid to do. It's your job. So your job is to go out, find the news, find people, and provide it to the masses. If you're just sitting at home, you're making a blog, and you find out all these different stories, all these other scoops, and you just provide them. They call it the public citizen journalist. So, I mean, but you're a part of this. You're part of the people. Journalists, I feel like it's a separate. You're divided from just the citizens. That is your job to be a journalist. It's complicated. I mean, I think it's good to have a law that would protect the journalists and their sources, but I feel like it's something that really depends on what the case is. Like, if there is something that is detrimental to government security, like legitimate threat, not whatever WikiLeaks or Edward Snowden, any of those, but it was a legitimate threat to like national security, or like something that was big in crime or any other scenario, I feel like then journalists should be able to reveal their sources. But being a journalist, it is important, if a source wants to remain unidentified, that you keep their word for it. So it would be nice to have journalists be protected by this law.
Without having a definition of who a journalist is, it's very confusing, because especially there isn't a clear, obviously there is no definition, but I guess we need to ask ourselves who is a journalist. There's video, there's audio, there's the written word, there's all three now with the internet. So we really can't define who a journalist is, and then because from there it goes with what their rights are as a journalist. So once we know who a journalist is, then we can discuss what their rights are as a journalist. Anybody today can basically call themselves a journalist, but there should be a clear-cut definition, because then you can get into what they can and can't do. Yeah, that's all. I do think there needs to be a federal shield law. Yeah, it's a tongue twister. The problem with not having one is you make journalists' lives much more difficult when it comes for sources to trust the journalist. And a lot of sources aren't always comfortable being revealed. And for a journalist, it's difficult for people to, cooperate with you when you can't protect them. It deals with a journalist's credibility. Thankfully, most states currently have shield laws, but there definitely needs to be one put at the federal level. I think that's an important issue.
Journalism is a profession. You are a professional. Just because you have an opinion on a computer doesn't mean that you're right. I mean, the purpose of a journalist is to be unbiased. You're presenting the news. Anyone with a blogger, you can't guarantee that they're up to the same ethical standards. You could be totally biased in a political issue or just an event in general, and that's what you're putting out there. So I think that you have to maintain professionalism, ethics, a lot of things that go beyond, oh, did you hear about that law? Like, there's more to it than that. I could read WebMD and I'm not a doctor, so you could read a newspaper and you're not a journalist. I think the prospect of not having a federal shield law is frightening for a lot of journalists, because we expect that we should be able to protect our source if we can't give their name for reasons such as it could damage their livelihood or they could, God forbid, get hurt. So I think the fact that we're essentially forced to expose these people or face prison is ridiculous.
I think it's made a major impact in terms of trust when it comes to your news. I mean, nowadays I wouldn't trust everything that I find online. I wouldn't, because you don't really know the person who's taken the video or written what's there. I think a little bit of training and skills are required. That a common person might be able to provide information. You could maybe have a journalist work with a common person, but I wouldn't really be in support of everybody being a part of the news. I think we still should leave a journalist's job to a journalist. It's like saying that there's a lot of information available about medicine, but not everybody can do it. It's a craft, and people are good at what they do. So I think it has had an effect, and we should just let it be. I think, I mean, shield laws is something that's, it's been discussed a lot, I mean, over the past few years. My views about the United States not having, a fixed shield law as such, I think it's something that they should be working towards, because it's definitely a part, as a journalism student and a future journalist, I think it's a part of a journalist's right. And I think something, needs to be looked into it. So.
A little less than 2 minutes into the second, New York still holding a 2-goal lead.
See you guys. I'll see you.